Sorry there, had a little bit of a game crash there. Technical issues on my side, but we're back in. So we're into Q3 here now. Just got the top 10 drivers left, setting their times, and we're going to see both McLaren, so Darkness King and Lancey out there. Solarized, Fuse Road, Catman, Meeb, Ford, Perfect Pond, Frontrunner, and Valentine. Fuse Rogue has got the fastest with a 105.3, followed by Darkness King with a 105.9, Perfect Pond with a 105.901, barely beating Darkness King, but Lancey there with a 104.8 is going to be at the top out of those four. Currently, got Mead, Forward, and Valentine all on flying laps, or Valentine's in the pits, but the others on laps right now as well. So got Red Bull driving pretty slow there. Forward is going to go P5 with a 106.2. That's going to be Perfect Pond was just going slow, getting out of the way for some of those guys there, causing a little bit of a yellow. But we got Slayerized and Catman out on track right now. Darkness is making his way back into the pits. Forward is currently in P6 with a 106.2 there for the other Red Bull, followed by accompanying Perfect Pond, I should say, with a 105.9 at P4, who we're riding on board with at the moment. Our front runner and outlap Valentine still sitting in the pits, and we're going to have Slayerized and Catman taken to the track at the moment. Slayerized now has the fastest sector 1 time, improved a lot there than his previous lap. Coming down to the tighter hairpin in sector 2 currently. Makes a good rotation through there. Got Lancey coming out on our lap, followed by Meeb as well, so I imagine those two are going to be fighting it out for pole, provisional pole here shortly. Got 6 minutes left in Q3 for these guys to show us what they've got as far as pace tonight. Slayer's improved by 9 seconds, putting him all the way up to P5 from sitting down in P9. 105.9, just behind Perfect Pond's 105.7 there. Just a couple tenths shy. So if he wants to be fighting for pole, he's going to have to give a little bit more than that. So we'll see if he's able to improve as the track rubbers in just a little bit more. Darkness King is looking like he's getting ready to set himself up with a qualifying run here. He's currently sitting P7 at the moment with a 105.9. His teammate is just about a second faster than him, currently holding provisional pole at 104.8. So see if he's able to get himself up there alongside his teammate, and maybe they'll be able to work together throughout this race and get themselves a good showing for the race tonight, as they're going to be battling it out with with Aston Martin down there at the bottom of the standings. Just a couple thousand hundredths slower there. That first part goes a bit wide. Doesn't invalidate his lap time though. Hopefully he's able to make up that time rather quickly there, as we've got a couple cars behind him getting a little close there. It looks like that's going to be Mead, who is currently on provisional pole with a 104.835, barely beating Lancey. And one of the Red Bulls looks like it's going to be forward. So he's definitely got a lot of pace out here tonight. I know Ville was saying that he may be on shot for winning here tonight if he's able to keep his car on track, so hopefully he is. He'll be able to give us a great show. He's got Darkness King now coming around to the final corner. Is he able to improve? No, he's not. He was just almost a tenth of a second slower there than his previous best, so he's going to want to rush around to the pits hopefully and get out there to set one more time if he's able to. Front runner still has yet to come out of the pits. Not sure if that's part of the strategy just to start 10th, or if he's just waiting until the last minute here to get himself out. We'll see what everyone's got for us. Let's see, forward is now up into P5 with a 105.8. Maybe all he's got for us here today. Slayer Eyes is on his way into the pits. Valentine is in the pits. Slayer Eyes is on outlap actually. Grumpy Old Catman down in P9 with a 106.03. See if he's able to improve on that time. Perfect Pond out on the lap now is just 9/100ths of a second faster than his previous time, so not a whole lot of improvement there through Sector 1. See what he's able to do through Sector 2. Pretty strong duo there in the Red Bull camp this week. Wow, he's up 5/10ths already. It's Perfect Pond and forward there for your Red Bull crew. Both very solid racers, able to give out solid performances day in, day out. So they'll be looking to get the jump on Haas, who didn't see themselves out of Q2. So we got a great opportunity here. Perfect Pond goes third faster, the 104.9. Which you love to see from Red Bull there. This front runner is now on his way out of the pits with just a minute left in qualifying. We'll see if he's able to put in a stonking lap for us or not. Darkness King has retired from the session. He's going to have to be happy with his 9th position there. Not enough time to get out of the pits and set a new lap time there. Forward is making his way back into the pits right now. Maybe retiring as well. Slayer Eyes on a 105.9 is his previous best. Sets the fastest Sector 2 time. He's up by a 10th of his previous. Got some traffic up here in front of him. Traffic moves out of the way very quickly. Giving him a nice shot at inside line on this corner. Goes a little bit wide and invalidates his lap. That is unfortunate for him. That would have been a pretty impressive lap there. Would have bumped him up all the way at least P5. That's going to be it for his qualifying runs here tonight. Catman also crosses and he's going to be in 7th place there. Meeb sets the fastest with a 104.7. It's going to be a tough one for anyone behind him to beat. Looks like we do see the McLaren come making his way around now to this final corner. See what he's able to pull out for us. I'm not sure it's going to be good enough, though. It is not. He improves, but not enough. It's going to be P2 of the 104.844 for qualifying. So McLaren in with a good chance here today. Get some good points, and once again we got 71 laps here, so the standing could change around a lot depending on first corner accidents and things like that. It looks like that is going to be everyone across the line now. So how you see there's how they're going to be stacked up. Hey Blackfire, how's it going? Meeb, pole position of a 104.7, Lancey, P2, 104.8, Perfect Pond, Fuse Rogue front runner, make up 345, and then forward, Grumpy Catman, Slayer as Valentine, and Darkness King fell out the rest. Ready to go racing here? We've got 17 drivers for us here tonight, and we've taken the field, so expect to see a pretty even mix among the top 6 or 7 guys. All usually stay pretty consistent with each other, and if they're able to keep it clean, it's going to be pretty great. Yeah, let's go, let's get it. Hoping big things from Red Bull and McLaren. I got my eyes on here tonight, so you guys better not disappoint for me. I want to see some changes in the standings for once. Been told that we do have the formation lap on for us, for you guys. Finally, seems like Codemasters were able to fix their issues there with that little lobby glitch we had. So gonna see a little bit more strategy coming into these races now, depending on where you pull up in your pit lane, your parking box, I should say. Adds a little bit more intensity to the race. Allows you to swap around where you would like to if you need to. So I do apologize about that, guys. We did have a little bit of a technical difficulties there, but off the start we did see front runner DNF there. Had a bit of contact there causing a safety car. So you're going to see me was still holding P1, followed by Lancey, and forward there in the number 3 slot on the Red Bull. We're going to see quite a few position changes there for some of these guys. Perfect Pond, it's going to be down 9 spots. Fuse Rogue down 12 spots. He had a bit of a spin there. Coming into turn 2 there up at the top of that tight hairpin. Came together. It might have been with front runner, I wasn't entirely sure. And then we've got Josh is up 7 spots already, excuse me. After he had a disqualification in Q1. Valentine is up 3 spots. Darkness King is up 5 spots already from his P10 start. Gonzalez is up 7 spots as well. Forward is up 3. You see Team B7 and Vail both up 6 spots as well. This looks like McLaren is in a pretty good spot at the moment, as are Ferrari are going to be the 2 strongest looking teams out there on the field. Meeb in the Alpine there has shown some dominant pace in qualifying, so I'm sure he's going to be able to keep something up for us here today. Grumpy Old Catman, Meeb, and Lancey, Scuba Steve, and Majako all have stayed in their respective starting spots. Majako is down in 15th. In the Alpine there. Hopefully he's able to improve there. The championship leader. He's got himself a dominant lead. Doesn't need to win tonight and get a whole lot of points, but I'm sure he's gonna wanna take that dub. The safety car on lap 1, not sure we're going to see. I don't think we saw anybody diving into the pits aside from Fuse, who needed a new front wing. This Perfect Pond is retired from this session there. Looks like he's made contact with a wall. Not sure, wasn't really paying attention to who was around him for that. Might extend the safety car a little bit, or it might not. Ferrari 7th and 8th. They got that new livery that they ran a few weekends ago at Monza there. Some game for us here to use. Not gonna lie, I think it's not too bad as far as the custom one-off liveries go. Safety car is going to be in this lap, so we are going to be getting ready to go racing here. Right on board is a little bit farther back. Get a good view of some of this action here. Gonzalez up in P4 is making a strong run this week out. So it's all up to Mead now to make the pace here as the safety car is making its way into the pits. See when exactly he's going to be going. Looks like Lancey has had a spin there off track. So we are going green again though. Meavis got himself a nice lead there. In the front. Forward though. Darkness King is up fourth now. It's not too far behind Gonzalez at the moment. See what he's able to do. He's on the faster tire compound, but they are going to wear out sooner. It makes a little bit of contact there, super late on the brakes there. Might have damaged his front wing a bit. Not sure about that. These front wings are a lot more durable than last year's game, so you are able to continue with a little bit of damage, and I don't imagine a hit like that would cause too much impact. As Josh gets ahead of Bill there for the number 7 spot. Grumpy Old Catman has seen himself up 2 spots, up into 5th already. He unfortunately had that spin just before the restart, sees him down to 15th place at the moment. Looks like he's able to get right back up to Team B7 now. Sneeb has already got himself a 1.2 second gap over forward. This man has some pace. That's a 109.5 for the fastest lap of the race. As we see Darkness King make a move up on Gonzalez there. See if he's able to hold on to it. Looks like they're going side by side now as Gonzalez gets back ahead. You can see him coming down through there now. As Darkness King is able to stay ahead. He's right on his tail there, and the higher RPMs there for a moment there. Keeping himself pretty close. I'm not sure. He might think about making a move here. It's a very hard corner to make an overtake happen in, but I have seen it done before. As Catman is just content sitting back watching these two kind of scrap it out, looking to pick up any pieces and mistakes these guys make. He's going to be all over that, as well as Valentine not far behind them. Got a little bit of a gap there, though, to Josh and the other Mercedes just behind him, and then Bill and the other Ferrari. So we'll see another spin. Looks like that's Fuse Rogue making a spin there, as we see Scuba Steve making a move up on Bill now. Makes a beautiful pass there right towards the end of the, just before the start finish straight. Gonzalez and Catman are going at it. Oh, and Catman goes a little bit wide. That's a spin, but doesn't lose a wheel in the process. Might have gotten some front wing damage there, most definitely. And drop him down from P5 all the way to P10. Elmajacko's sneaking by him. Elmajacko's making good moves there. Narrowly avoids an incident though. See quite a big mix here in the middle pack, as these guys are kind of all just battling it out here, going wheel to wheel. It's pretty fun and love this track. Just great racetrack, I think. I'm not sure if Grumpy has any wing damage. Does look like he might have. Oh, he looks pretty okay actually. Did well to save that one there. Checking back in, and Meeb's got himself a 2.6 second up at the front now, as Gonzalez is still going wheel to wheel with these guys. It goes a little bit wide in this final couple corners though. Want to find himself back into that groove as quickly as possible. Got Josh just behind him by 9/10 of a second, so any mistakes these guys make, and there's going to be a driver right there to take their spot. It's pretty tight from 4th all the way down to 8th. These guys all spread out pretty evenly between each other. A couple different tire compounds. Josh is going to be on the fastest there with the softs, just behind Gonzalez. But Gonzalez sets a new fastest sector for P1. Elmajacko makes a move on Bill. Gets that done pretty quickly. Valentine and Darkness King going at it back and forth here. Little swappy around. Don't want to grab too much curb there on the inside, but Valentine is right perfectly alongside of him there. They come through these corners. Valentine is back up ahead. I see his Darkness King is going to have DRS down this back straight, but not always where you want to make a move. He does go wide though, so he does lose a little bit of speed there. So now he's definitely going to have to be waiting for this next straight here if he wants to make a move. Thinks about making a move down the inside, but avoids that costly mistake. See if he's able to close that gap down a little bit here. See, he's getting closer and closer. He's maybe thinking about taking the outside around this corner here, or cut to the inside. He cuts to the inside. So very nicely done there by Darkness King. You see Gonzalez drops back quite a bit. These guys. Scuba Steve now up into 6th, watching all these guys battling it out up front. Got both McLarens running right next to each other, working in tandem. help them out a lot in a later stage of this race once the strategy comes into play. As far as pit stops and giving each other the tow and whatnot, as Scuba Steve is just on a roll tonight. Makes that move look easy, sliding himself up into the number 5 spot. Love to see it. Darkness King is still holding that P3 spot at the moment. Got himself about a 7/10 of a second gap there. 3 seconds behind Forward and P2. These guys are all coming into it pretty nice and steady. See if Scuba Steve is able to make a move here on Valentine. Looks like he wants it. Is he going to have the pace for it though? He's got about 50% ERS. As Valentine tries to go side by side with Darkness King. They both give each other enough room there. And Valentine is able to slot just slightly ahead of Darkness King there, but Darkness is not giving this one up, thinks about it, doesn't make a lunge down the inside there, wants to make it easy, make sure you can get past nice and easy there. You got a long race ahead of yourself, so it's not worth ruining your race on the first 10 laps. So far we've got a few DNFs there from Front Runner, was that first casualty, and then Perfect Pond and Keys Rogue followed after that. Meeb is set out with a 3.5 second lead now, just further extending that gap. Gonna need a safety car or two to wrangle him back at this point, I feel like. And he's also on the hard tires as well. It's your boy Gaba Guy as comms. Just figured I'd give this a try since I can't usually win a race, so I'd rather watch the race, right? Scuba Steve now moves himself up into P4, but Darkness King fights that one back pretty well. Scuba Steve is not giving up though. You see Alma Jacko, your championship leader, is already back up to 6th place. Scuba Steve not able to get past Darkness at the moment. He's following him, but Valentine was able to slip past and has got himself about a 7/10 free. You see Scuba making another move here, might think about going around the outside. He comes up alongside of him. This is beautiful, beautiful racing here from these two. This Darkness King now is on the outside. Darkness is starting to lose a little bit of a pace, might have his tires a little overcooked. He's got about 30% ERS, so maybe just saving that up a little bit to be able to fight in a little bit later in the race when everyone's tires are falling off. The Forward is running softs up there in P2, so he's going to have to pit a lot sooner than the rest of these guys. But you are still going to be able to get a few, I think it's like 15-20 laps out of a set of softs here. Scuba Steve is just pulling away from Darkness a little bit, gets a little bit closer to Valentine up ahead of him though. See what he's able to do there. I think about making a move down this straight, I'm not sure. King D7 with a 3-second penalty there for track violations. He's down in 14th at the moment. There are points to all the finishers. But we've got one Red Bull out of the mix, so Haas is going to want to take advantage of this opportunity to get back ahead of Red Bull in the constructors standings. They're just down by a single point as Darkness King has had an accident. It sees him DNF. That is unfortunate there for McLaren. Saw him only running 11 laps. See, we'll get a safety car. This is going to neutralize this race effectively. Bunch everyone back up. Valentine and Scuba have to take avoiding action not to ruin the race for each other as we see Forward dive into the pits. See what he's going to take. He's going out on the hard tires himself. You're going to see quite a few guys coming in the pits now. You see this order change around a little bit. Some of these soft guys are definitely going to want to get off those softs, I believe, at this point. It would not be worth it to keep running those much longer. You just have to pit in the next 5-6 laps anyway. So probably see mediums and hards used from here on out unless we get a late dive into the pits towards the end of this race to see the soft tire again. You see Josh actually puts on a set of soft tires, so he may be thinking about late set of mediums or a set of hards after this. Not sure what's on his mind at the moment. We are going to see Mead has got himself a phenomenal lead now though. out in front. He's just able to hook it up and get out of town with that Alpine car there, straight from the beginning. Saw great pace from him in qualifying as well. I think it was Bill who was in the chat, shouted him out as a favorite to win, so it looks like we may be right for the moment. We'll see. We've still got about 60 laps left here, so anything could happen and will happen. As you've seen, we've already had 2 safety cars and we're not even close to halfway. So most of the drivers who pit went for the hards, got 1 on softs, 1 on mediums. So imagine we are gonna see pretty solid running from all these guys here, not a whole lot of jumbling around. Just gonna see a couple more laps here, maybe one more time around once this field gets bunched up a little bit more. Reed, Valentine, and Scuba Steve are going to be your top 3 at the moment. I believe Scuba Steve started out pretty far down the order. Let's take a look here. Scuba Steve started 13th, Valentine started 9th, Meep started on pole position here. So all these guys in the top 6, 7 have all moved up dramatically. Due to the misfortune of some of these other guys. So good for some, bad for others. Just had a couple pit stops so far. Not a whole lot. As far as penalties, Team B7 is going to be the only one with a 3-second penalty currently for track violations. So safety cars do make these races more interesting, and I do know just how badly these guys want to get back out and start racing. Scuba Steve is probably going to be making his way up into the podiums towards the end of the race if he continues his run like this, as the safety car is going to be coming in this lap. Scuba Steve was strong pace, making 1 or 2 overtakes for the first like 3 or 4 laps, I believe it was. Just showing very strong pace. Bill and Grumpy and the Ferrari duo there, doing really well. Ford and Red Bull's down in 8th place after his pit stop for hard tires, excuse me, at the start of this safety car period. Looks like we are going to be getting ready to go here, as Valentine is going to be trying to make any attempt he can on Meeb. He knows if he's got any shot, now is going to be his best chances. They're going green again here. Scuba Steve loses out a couple positions there on the restart. As Valentine's not able to make anything happen on the first corner right there. You see Gonzalez goes a bit wide. And that allows Scuba Steve and Bill to slide on through, as well as Grumpy Old Catman. All making passes there. Team B7 down a spot, Lancey up. Lancey had a spin. He was in P2 for the first couple of laps, and then he saw himself down the order there. Did well not to DNF. So we've already had 4 of those so far this race. You see Gonzalez going at it with Catman. These guys are going side by side here. Nice overhead shot there. As you see, Catman is able to hold on just a little bit. But Jacko is getting just a little bit closer there. Makes a move up on forward. Wonder if he's going to be able to sneak his way into this fight here soon. At the current rate he's going, he's definitely going to have the pace to do so. This Meeb has now got himself 7/10 of a second gap already in just a lap. Incredible pace. Incredible pace. See Jacko and Gonzalez now going side by side. Jacko is able to slot just ahead there. Beautifully done. These drivers giving each other a lot of respect out here tonight. No, not too much banging wheels. We have seen a bit of that in the past. Last time out, quite a few drivers were getting a little too bumpy for the steward's likings. We got Forward still holding 8th place. He was running P3 before he pit. So imagine he's just settling in for the long haul here. Gonzalez on 16-lap old hards is going to have to pit. As are pretty much everyone above him other than Majaco's on older tires. So Lancey makes a move now on Josh in the Mercedes. Lancey in the McLaren. Makes that move pretty easily. Josh on the soft set of tires, 4-lap olds compared to Lancey's hard tires of the same age. DRS is now enabled though, so we're going to see a little bit closer battling here as Forward is moving up on Gonzalez. Gets the move done? Maybe. No, they're going at it side by side here. Just level pegging down this straight. This drag race is just going to go all the way in depending on who's last on the brakes here. As you see, Forward is able to get that lead. Gonzalez, though, is just right behind him, and Lancey is now ready to pounce as well. You see Gonzalez and Forward still going at it. So super tight racing here from these guys. I said we'd have a little bit of that tonight, and they are definitely delivering. Hopefully they're able to keep it going the entire race. Last round we saw light work going wheel to wheel for almost an entire lap with the driver. And they were putting on quite the show then, and it was very fun to watch. Love it when these guys get this close together on track. Thanks for a great experience for all, as Ferrari still running 5th and 6th. Team B7 with another penalty. Got Vale getting close to Jacko. Jacko goes wide. Gives him an opportunity. He's not able to capitalize on it. Jacko did a great job to keep him losing control of his car there. So he's not going to have the advantage of DRS from anybody up ahead of him. He's got a 3.3 second gap. Although Vale is going to have an opportunity. Lancey makes a move on Forward though. So got their DRS flaps wide open as they're coming down this stretch here. Coming into this hairpin, you're able to carry a little bit more speed if you're the following car and slip into that slipstream there without having to slam on your brakes quite as much. Slayers makes a move on Gonzalez as well. Looks like he's just losing pace at the moment. Those 18-lap old hards. Don't imagine he'd be suffering from tire wear at this point. This might have just fallen out of the groove, and everyone so close. They're able to just take good advantage of that, although Scuba Steve is just 8/10 off of Valentine at the moment. Close that gap down beautifully. And Jacko is your championship leader. He's got his eyes on them up ahead on track, just disappearing. He wants to get up close to that fight as he can. You can see Neeb's starting to make his way up off in the distance ahead of Valentine and Scuba. Scuba's looking like he wants to go and make a dive. He thinks better of it. Just a little too far back to make that one work. But he's going to have a nice chance here. Gets a pretty good exit. Not what he'd want exactly, but he is able to still make it happen. As Valentine gives him the space. Strong showing from the Haas of Scuba Steve here today. Looks like he has something to prove to everyone here today. He's done great all race long so far. We're on lap 20 of 71, so don't worry, we're not going anywhere as long as you don't. So kick back and be tired. Well, that's why Lord made us this wonderful thing called Raise Energy. Got myself the white peach flavor currently. It's pretty tasty. Pick yourself up some there. Great energy. No sugar at crash. 0 sugar in these things, so always great. But yeah, wonderful taste. Anyway, back to the racing. You see Lancey is just right there on Catman. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 3, and that is going to be the Haas of Team B7, I believe. Yes, made contact with the wall, it looks like. Doesn't slide into the pits though. Valentine is just 7/10 behind Scuba Steve there. So Jacko has now closed that gap down to 2.9 seconds. Vale following with a 1.5, and Catman with us 0.6 behind that. So you see the Ferraris working well together, but we are going to have a safety car As it is Team B7 DNFs there. Might have had a little bit of contact there, and Austin's wing just couldn't rotate the car like he wanted it to. I'm not sure. That is going to be our third safety car, and we're on lap 21. So we got 50 laps left here. This should be interesting all the way down to the wire. If we keep up paces like this, these guys are all staying very consistent and close to each other, making moves where they need to. So we're going to see a couple guys diving into the pits now. It's going to be Scuba and Valentine. Wondering what kind of tires they're going to throw on. I would imagine the hard tires, as Vill's going to make a pass on Catman. It looks like Catman's coming into the pits. Or excuse me, Vill's coming into the pits. A couple guys in the pits, most everyone else is staying out on track though. Let's see. Valentine and Scuba Steve are now down 10th and 11th respectively. Vill is also going to be in your number 12 spot for Ferrari. So these guys pitting now while they got a chance to lose a little bit less time under his safety cars. Jacko has seen himself all the way up into P2 already. How he does it every week, I will never figure out. But man, the guy knows how to wheel, let me tell ya. So strong performance from Alpine, running first and second at the moment. See if Jacko's got anything for Meeb though, up in the front. Meeb's been strong and steady. As soon as he's given the green flag, he is gone, so probably going to be his only opportunity for an overtake is going to be now. This Catman sees himself in third currently, after starting a little bit further down the field, but you know, so many laps to go, there's everything to play for here. He's on 21 lap old mediums, so imagine he's going to come into the pits, maybe try to stretch his tires out when Meeb's going to need to come into the pits, maybe a little bit sooner, not sure what state his tires are in. Lancey did well to recover. He had a spin towards the start of the race after starting P2, I believe it was, or being up there around abouts after the first lap. He saw himself down at the back of the field and has since worked his way all the way back up there, so great run from him so far. As the Baba Yaga is going to make a dive into the pits. He's on 22 lap old mediums, and he switches to the hard compound. I'm not sure that you'll be able to stretch those to the end from here, but you know, I'm sure there'll be another safety car at some point in the race for these guys to make their way to the pits again. Forward has started out running P3, he's dropped down to P8 after the last safety car is up to P5 currently. Great from him. Josh had a spin towards the beginning of this race, drops him down. He's done well to come back as well. Saraz is running P7 for Williams here tonight. Gonzalez is on 22 lap old hards in that Alfa Romeo. He was running up in the podium places for a while, but then started to lose a bit of pace and slid down the order. Not sure if he flat spotted his tires or what. And then we got some fresh runners back here in the back as the safety car is going to be coming in. We've got two sets of fresh softs and a set of fresh hards. Two sets of fresh hards. These guys are going to be getting ready to go, making sure their ERS is topped off. Their tires are nice and warm here. You don't want to have your tires too cold when you go to give a gas. You'll just spin out and ruin the rest of your race on these safety car starts. He likes to back the pack up a little bit, and then that final corner he just kind of takes off and goes. See what he's able to do. Looks like it's getting ready for it now. Off they go, green flag running once again on lap 24 of 71. Not seeing anyone making any overtakes. Looks like Ford had to avoid an incident there. Is getting real close to the back of Lancey. Does well to avoid that. That allows Josh to move up his position though. Slayer Eyes sees all this going on ahead of him and wants to get a little bit for himself. As Scuba Steve is up on Gonzalez already on those 2 lap old soft tires. And does tag a little bit the rear end there of Valentine. Not sure if he's going to have any front wing damage, but he does lose out a couple spots there. One to Vil and one to Gonzalez, who had just previously passed. See if he's able to make a dive down the inside. He wants to, but doesn't have enough room to make anything happen. You see Elma Jacko is able to stay consistent up here with Mead for the moment. He's only got a half second gap right now. It's a lot closer than anyone else has been able to stay after these restarts. So may see a little bit of an action-packed battle up there for who's going to win this one. Helmut Jacko is currently our championship leader. Got himself about a 40-point lead over second place of Guinnett to win it, who is not present tonight. Maybe be piloting that other Mercedes. Got a fill-in spot. But these guys are, doing well respectively in their fights. Any of the ones who dropped down, they seem to quickly bounce back and challenge not long after. You see Bill and Scuba swapping spots again. As Scuba gets up there, I'm not sure if they made contact there. It looks a little questionable to me. These guys are scrapping like none other. As Baba Yaga is just a little bit farther down the field, hanging back, watching all this happen. Not able to do too much, as Meeb is still just half a second ahead there. Looks like we're going to see a battle once the DRS opens up, as Lancey he's himself up into P3 over Grumpy Old Catman. He's just 8/10 behind, so the top three are all going to be in a DRS train together. So we should see a good bit of overtaking some strategy here, and Lancey might be able to capitalize big on this if these guys get into an extended battle. He's going to see Scuba Steve back, and Gonzalez is on those 24-lap-old hards. DRS is enabled this lap. I see top 7 all pretty much within DRS of each other. Catman is the only one who's not going to have DRS from Lancey up ahead. See, DRS flaps are open, not able to make too much of a gap there, as Jacko and Meeb are just kind of in a league of their own, it seems like. I don't know what they were feeding these guys at Alpine, but whatever it is, it works. You see, Jacko is not able to close down too much here. I'm not sure that he may necessarily be wanting to challenge for the win at this stage. If he's able to hold out this pace for a while, it would be good. Meeb is going to have to pit eventually, though. He's on those 25-lap-olds compared to Jacko's 13-lap-old tires. Lancey and Jacko on the same set of tire strategy at the moment. So whatever one does, the other will probably not do when it comes to these next run of stops. This Grumpy Old Catman has just seen himself fall back a little bit as Forward makes a move up on Josh. It's Red Bull versus McLaren once again. You'll love to see it. As Josh is coming into the pits, he might have had wing damage. Something like that. He's on 13-lap-old tires. They may just be wearing off for him. Scuba Steve sets the fastest lap with a 108.6 for Haast. He's down in 8th at the moment. He's able to make a good impact there after his pit stop. Saw him down in 11th place, I believe, at the end of this last safety car. He thinks about making a move on Slayer Eyes there. Valentine does. Makes a little bit of contact with him, but no spins, and they all keep racing. So hopefully no harm, no foul there. These guys, sometimes when you get bumped around a lot in the rear end, you just kind of want to take it out on the other guy. But hopefully we don't see any of that here tonight. As Slayer is down just a little bit on that battle up ahead between Grumpy Old Catman and Forward. Just half a second separates them. Jacko is about 4/10 behind Meeb and fighting for lead of this race right now. Lancey is holding P3 steadily, able to hook up into that DRS train. So you see this battle for 4th is going to be one of the closest ones we've got. The Scuba Steve is getting a little bit closer to Valentine, though a little bit behind. Let's see if Forward's able to make anything happen down this next straight. He's got ERS, now is the time. He's got it. See him burn it. There it goes. He's making his move now. Makes that pass just so easily on Catman, who did not have the DRS up ahead. So that's great to see there, as Slayer Eyes drops down a couple spots there to Scuba and Valentine. These guys are scrapping hard, and they're scrapping clean. Love seeing racing like this. Josh has got himself a 3-second penalty for track violation. He's down in 12th at the moment. He's hanging back quite a bit from the rest of the field. Got himself 13 seconds to 11th place there. Looks like he did come into the pits for a fresh set of tires. So he's got a little bit of work ahead of him, but we'll see him probably stretch out these tires for a good long while. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. Not sure who that is. That is going to be Catman, it looks like. Had a bit of a moment there. Does well not to lose the car completely, dropping him from P4, or P5, excuse me, all the way down to P10. See if he comes in and pits. No, he does not. Must not have had any damage, so he keeps it running. Gonzalez just 9/10 off of Bill in front of him, the other Ferrari. Alfa Romeo has got himself in his Ferrari sandwich quite a few times, splitting these guys apart, not letting them work together too well. We got Slayer Eyes right on the back of Scuba Steve, who is right on the gearbox of Valentine up ahead. These guys have been battling for quite a while. Slayer Eyes is a very solid, very accomplished racer. Got to share a track with him a few times, and Lance is good. As we see Gonzalez there, might have had a spin. Not sure what happened there. As you see Valentine and Scuba Steve go at it again. Scuba slides past Valentine at that corner. See, is Valentine going to be able to feed him anything back? This looks like he's just following him for now. It's really hard to overtake at that corner. Sometimes it's better to just save it for one of these straights. You're coming out of the final corner here. He's going to want to get himself up nice and close there. He will have the DRS down this straight, so the closer he can get here, the better. Might be able to make the move done before the next, but if not, he will have another DRS zone after this one to follow it up with. Keeps the car just right on the edge of the track limits there. Closing in as Elma Jacko started to slip back just a couple tenths of a second there from Mead. P1 and P2. Lancey has got himself 6 tenths behind, closing in that gap just slightly. Not enough to probably make much of an impact though, as those guys are just leading the way there. So we'll see a yellow flag, as I believe that was Gonzalez. It was, who had another spin there and coming into sector 1, turn 1. It's a little bit of a shake around here. We got 12 racers left out of 17. Lancey is now just half a second behind. Jacko looks like he had a little bit of a moment there, loses a little bit now to Meeb up ahead. He's dropped the gap. That gap now is extended to 0.9 seconds. Ville has got himself a time penalty for track violations there. He's on those 8-lap-old softs, so might be experiencing a little bit of wear. Not quite what he's used to. Turn into some of these corners, so it is easy to go a little bit wide, especially in that final corner there. Just a little too much speed, and off in the grass you go. His forward is in P4 for the Red Bull. He's got 3.6 seconds between him and Lancey up ahead. I know he's going to want to fight for that podium. Those guys up ahead are going to need a pit, and that's going to be pretty much me at this point. The second, third, and fourth all on the same tires, same age. So they'll be able to extend this battle for a while. Jacko is going to be hoping that Mew takes it into the pits after a little bit here, but I know he's going to want to take advantage of that DRS for as long as he can. Lancey's doing a phenomenal job to hold on to that and not let it slip a little bit away. This looks like Gonzalez had another little bit of a moment there back in Sector 2. Must be struggling with his car a little bit. He is on 30-lap-old hards, as well as Meeb's 30-lap-old hard, so I imagine their tires aren't the best to deal with, as we're almost to the halfway point now in this race. So laps kind of just go by super fast, pretty speedy here. Not a whole lot of time around the track. As you can see, pretty tight field still for the most part. Top 8 all within 11 seconds of the leader. And you can see Scuba Steve has got still holding the fastest lap with a 108.6 there. Meeb's fastest is 108.8 on those hard tires, Scuba on the softs. So I imagine Meeb's pace on the softs is going to be phenomenal compared to that of the rest of the field, but Jacko and Lancey are holding pretty tight there, so I don't imagine we'll see them slipping back too far yet. We got very, very close battle up there. Nice DRS train for those guys. It's going to all depend on when Meeb pits for who's going to be able to come out on top here, if it's going to be an Alpine leading the way still, or if Lance is going to be able to take advantage, as he is starting to slip back a little bit. Got about 40% ERS compared to Jacko, who's up on 75%, and just starting to burn a little bit off, trying to make a move down, it looks like. He can make a move quickly, that would be great for him, as he's pushing Lancey just a little bit back, just outside of a second now, as these two go wheel to wheel. You see Alma Jacko take the lead over Meeb as they come into the corner. Nice and respectful there of each other. And Jacko has taken the lead of this race after qualifying 15th. It's a beautiful, beautiful run there in these 33 laps to get himself all the way back up into leading this race now, as Alpine are going to be in a pretty solid position if they can hold out a form like this to the end of the race, as Lancey is just 4 tenths behind now. I imagine Jacko is going to want a little bit of breathing room though from Meeb. Not going to want him to sneak up too closely. And if he can, he's just a little bit over a second ahead of Lancey, so as soon as Meeb pits, he may be safe from that threat of DRS from that McLaren. But McLaren looking to need a big weekend here to pull themselves off the bottom of the leaderboard. They've had a pretty dismal season so far, and they've had a lot of crashes out, not due to their own any fault of their drivers, but just unlucky circumstances, and when they do finish, and it's not been too well. So hopefully they're able to turn that around, as their main rival Aston Martin isn't in the runnings currently tonight's race. So they'll have a good chance as long as Lancey can finish, bring home some good points. It'll be great for their season. His forward is now dropped to 4 seconds behind now. You can see pretty much the rest of the field is just kind of hanging out in their respective spots. Slayer Eyes within DRS, of Valentine up ahead. It's one of the only few drivers still in a DRS window. He's not able to make a whole lot happen with it, as Valentine is lost out about 1.4 seconds. Scuba Steve, these guys have been battling pretty close all race, and they're just starting to make a little bit of a distance now, as Gonzalez gets 3-second time penalty, as he is now down a lap, soon to be 2 it appears, as he is on fresh softs. Baba Yaga is staying consistently close with Catman there. Catman on 33-lap-old medium, so he's not going to have the best pace. Looks like he's making a move into the pits. Yes, he is. That's going to promote Baba Yaga up to P9 for the moment, as Bill is going to be the only Ferrari out on track, so he's going to have, you know, a little bit of pace in those soft tires still, I'd imagine, but he is on a penalty. Let's see what kind of penalty he's on. Well, just 3 seconds worth of penalties for everyone who's got one right now. So Josh isn't going to be in too much of a tight pinch there to try to get that back. As you see, Neve is staying consistently close with Jacko up in the front, but we've got Slayer Eyes and Valentine are now a lot closer than they were last time we checked in with them. Slayer Eyes has done well to hold on to that. It's on 22-lap-old mediums over at Valentine's 13-lap-old hards. So his tires are going to be nearing the end of their life, I would imagine, by this point, but he's able to make them work for him still. As long as you can, the medium tire, if you can just keep heat in it, not let it overheat, get too cool, you'll extend the life of your tires drastically. It just comes down to having a fine control, as we see Scuba Steve makes his way into the pits. He was on 13-lap-old softs. Looks like he's getting tired of those. See what tire he puts on. I imagine he's going to slap the hards on and just run to the end from here. And see Bill is up in 7th now, just ahead of him. Yep, and Scuba has taken the hards. You hear the DRS beep from Slayer Eyes. It's just 4 tenths behind Valentine at the moment. Baba Yaga moves himself up into P8. Slayer Eyes gets close, but not close enough to make anything happen. He's got to have another shot here in this DRS window if he wants to burn a little bit of his ERS, but he's only on 14%. So may need to store that up a little bit to defend in case anyone behind him gets a little closer than he would like. As you see, Lancey is now just 2 tenths off of the Alpine of Meeb up ahead on those 35-lap-old hards. Meeb is still able to hold very consistently close with Majako up there on 23-lap-old hards. So these guys have been putting in a show. Alpine is very, very strong this weekend out. Both of these guys must really like this track. Majako is a very consistent driver, and I don't think we've seen Meeb in this endurance series yet, but this is what a way to make a name for himself here at the start of this. Now he's just a 10th behind Jacko there. Looks like, oh, a little snap of oversteer there. Almost loses the car, but grabs control of that really well. That allows Lancey to move up alongside of him, and it takes 2nd place for the moment. So these 3 are going to be coming in on top of this hill here. See him get close. Lancey gets pretty close to the back of Majako, but doesn't run into the rear end of him there. Everyone keeps on going. Meeb is now 2 tenths behind Lancey. He's splitting up that Alpine duo there, which may give Meeb a little bit more motivation to run into the pits. He's got himself on 36 laps on these tires. If he can go stretch it out another 5-6 laps, he could definitely take the mediums through to the end. You did see about 28, I think, was the longest we saw a set of mediums running so far. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3, and that is going to be Gonzalez with a DNF. As we get a safety car, which allows me to come into the pits. Beautifully timed there. Yeah, it's a big collision there from Gonzalez. DNF in there at that corner. Might have gone onto the curb there and just lost it. It's going to be our 4th safety car of the night. Meeb is in the pits on those hard tires currently, and he slaps on a set of mediums. Valentine up into P3 due to this, and I imagine we're going to see Forward making his way into the pits as well. How you sign up for the F1 League? There you go. Crash is on it. Thanks, Crash. You see a little bit of shuffling of the order here. These guys, some of these guys are making the pit stops. Got Slayer as Bill, Josh, all on fresh hards. Crapman is on 2-lap-old hards, pitted just a little bit sooner than the safety car, so he's got a bit of a gap to make up. But he closes down well, and that's going to see Josh just running out of the pits. He barely beats him out of the pits there. So Elma Jacko is holding the lead now, comfortably almost, I would say. With Lancey just behind him, these two have been showing pretty similar pace all through this race. The same with me being a little bit better there, as Majako is going to make his way into the pits now. Is Lancey? Yes, he is. So these two both pitting now. Wonder if they're going to slap on a new set of mediums if they've got it. Or what? As we see Valentine making his way around the final corner, looks like he's going to be inheriting the lead of the race for the moment. Meeb is just in 4th place now on a fresh set of mediums. So he is going to be right back up there fighting for this win. If you're already in the Discord, you just got to drop your gamertag in the reserve waiting list, and as soon as we have some seats open up, this endurance series we run every other Friday, so there's always seats available here too. If you want to get yourself in on a little bit of action. Run round 5 here of 7. We've got Majako is currently leading the driver's standing, as well as Alpine leading the constructor standings. So great performance from Alpine for this first few rounds of this season here to hold out a steady lead. I don't think Majako's never been lower than 1st in the standings. First couple weeks out, he had a dominant 2 wins. First weekend actually, he narrowly won. Came down to 1st place, running out of fuel just before the finish line. And that was pretty epic to watch there. You have to check back through some of our older videos if you want to see what I'm talking about. As the field's starting to bunch back up again, probably going to be getting ready to go green here shortly. A lot of these guys have made their final pit stops. Oldest tires are going to be those of Valentine on 17 laps, followed by Baba Yaga in P6 on 16-lap-old hards. So everyone other than that, we got 2nd through 5th running medium, everyone else on the hard tire. Seems to be one of the more favored race tires for around here. Durable, and you don't lose a whole lot of speed here, especially if you're running a little bit lower drag setup. You're able to get a lot of straight line speed. Looks like we're going around one more time. Maybe more. I don't know, safety car's a little up and down with how many laps I like running. So very strong performances today from me, Jacko. Valentine did very well. Scuba Steve has also been on a very impressive run. Excited to see what kind of pace he's going to have on those hard tires. All those guys coming from the back of the field. Lancey was started at P3 on lap 4 or 5, I believe it was. Had a spin, saw him down at the back, and he fought his way back up as well. So don't count him out. Definitely all these top 5, 6 drivers, very talented drivers, able to overcome these situations, keep a clear head, keep the pedal down. See, Forward is going to be wanting to get a move done on Mead there, maybe just follow him through, get a little bit of that DRS toe once that DRS opens up, as we do see the safety car coming in this lap. So we're going to be getting ready to go green again. Everyone just making sure their tires are warm enough, right where they want them to be. Don't want them too cold, no spins on the start. Scuba Steve had a little bit of an incident last safety car. Wasn't able to get the car hooked up right away and lost a few positions because of that. But hasn't slowed him down at all. These guys all very, very consistent with their driving styles. Not a whole lot of mistakes from the top few. as off we go. Valentine leading them away this time. Majako is staying right on his tail. Lancey not too far behind. See what Majako is able to do here. Might make something happen coming into this first corner. I'm not entirely sure. Scuba Steve makes a move on Baba Yaga though. And down grabs that 6th spot as Catman falls back to 11th. Josh makes a move up. As Jacko is right there, just 1.1 second behind. Might be making a move here. A little bit of a lunge into this final corner. He's thinking about it. These guys get up right alongside each other. As Jacko makes a dive down the inside, regains the lead of this race from Valentine. Valentine not ready to give it up yet though. Although he is on those older tires, as we do see a yellow flag, we do see Baba Yaga and Vil come together. There's a little bit of stop there. Very narrowly avoid an accident there, Valentine and Jacko do. And that's going to promote Lancey up a little bit. Slight mistake from Valentine there. Not what you'd want to see at the start of this. Looks like Baba Yaga and Vil are going again. Now they are going to be significantly farther behind than the rest of this pack. We've got 11 drivers left, started with 17. So a few more DNFs than last week. I believe last time out we only had a couple, 2 or 3 if I remember correctly. And that was at Silverstone. It was always a fun place to race around, even more fun to commentate. As you see, Mead is right there on Forward. Forward was able to get the jump on him at the safety car restart, but Scuba Steve is right there on the back of Mead as well. I think Mead's got himself caught up a little bit in this traffic, not able to make a move happen where he'd like, so leaving him susceptible to a attack from behind, as these guys are insanely close together. As Forward is sliding up on Valentine right now, makes the move happen. They get a little bit of rubbing wheels there. They give each other a little bit more room though, as Valentine gets back ahead, but not by much. Forward thinking about making a move down here, thinks better of it. You don't want to slide into the side of the car there and send him off into the gravel, because you will most definitely get a penalty for that, as we have learned from the wise words of Michael Massey. But that is Valentine comes together with Forward. Just a little bit of contact there, and that's going to send Valentine into a spin, dropping him out. Meeb does well to avoid that accident, as do the rest of the drivers. Going to see yellow flags back there, but looks like everyone's back and going again. Valentine dropped down to 9th there from 3rd, so that's not what he'd like to see with his race. But Forward back into the podium positions now. Just 2 seconds behind Lancey there, who's got 6 seconds off of Jacko, who just set the fastest lap of the 108.2. So Jacko's still got a lot of energy, a lot of pace left in that car today. I imagine these guys are all going to have enough fuel for sure to make it to the end with the amount of safety cars we've had, so shouldn't have to worry about that. Valentine's got himself a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, trying to make up a little bit extra time there, went a little wide. Let's see, wheel spin there from Meeb up ahead of Scuba Steve, who's just half a second behind. This Meeb is getting ever so closely on the Forward. You're going to want to make something happen. Forward needs to close down that gap if he wants that help of DRS there to keep Meeb behind him. Otherwise, it may look like this battle may go to Meeb here for 3rd place. As Lancey is still holding consistently half a second behind Jacko. Lancey has been surprising me a lot this weekend. Great pace from him. Definitely been cranking some laps in preparation for this. So we're going to see yellow flags in Sector 2 and 3, and that is going to be Scuba Steve. Had a spin there. Gets back onto the track, drops himself down to 9th though. That promotes Valentine up 1 spot. Lancey and Jacko fighting over fastest lap. Lancey winning out with a 107.9, barely beating Jacko there. And yeah, just 0.05 of a second there separating these guys' paces. So this is great racing from these top few drivers here. Stay so consistently close to each other, as Meeb is close to Forward but not able to do anything with that. You see Josh up into 6th place now. Had a little bit of a rough start to this race. Was down in the back, fought his way back a couple of times. Had an incident in qualifying. I think he was out in Q1, so great to see him up in the top 10. Looks like he's going to be challenging Slayerized here soon for that top spot of P5. You see a few penalties down the board. Valentine's on 22 lap old tires. Probably was thinking about a pit sooner. But now he's got a lot of ground he's going to want to have to make up if he wants to make anything happen here. Guess he makes a move on Scuba Steve there though. As Bill is just behind watching all this happen, as Scuba Steve is driving exceptionally slow. Can't tell if he's got damaged front wing. Doesn't appear so. He's just driving slow. Not sure what he's going on there. Catman is running 7th, one of the few in the bottom half. Yep, we're going to see Scuba Dive retire from the session. That's what I was afraid of. Might have just had it. Not able to make the car work for him. Not sure what happened. He was doing very well up until this point, though, as that is going to be forward with a spin there. Doesn't get any damage, but that is going to see his podium disappear. Not sure if he had contact up at the front or what happened there. Going to see Bill move up on forward as well. A little bit. Oh, and we're going to see Jacko with his spin too. That's going to allow Meeb and Lancey to go through. Lancey's going to be very happy with that. Got himself a 2.3 second gap to Meeb in second. As Elma Jacko had that spin there, caused him a little bit of trouble there. It doesn't look like he's got a damaged wing though, so he should be fine to keep going. As Josh is up into 4th place, Meeb with a 107.7, just 2/10 faster than Lancey's fastest lap attempt. So this is going to be a pretty fun battle here towards the end. He's not closing down that gap to the lead though, just yet. As you see, Josh is just 6/10 behind Slayer Eyes. Slayer Eyes has had a pretty inconspicuous race so far. He's just slowly been working his way through the field. You're going to see forward in the pits, might be getting a new front wing. As Baba Yaga makes a pass on him there. See Elma Jack on those 7-lap-old mediums. Just pushing ever so closer to Josh SR5 ahead of him. Just 4/10. Everyone's kind of finding their rhythm here now, starting to slow down a little bit, and field's getting spread out. Meeb is 2.1 seconds down now, able to close that gap by 3/10 this lap, 4/10, excuse me, on Lancey up ahead. So doesn't have DRS yet, but he's got 41% ERS to play with. Going a little bit slower than his previous fastest lap, but that would still put him faster than Lancey, so he should be closing down ever so slightly, and probably see him up in the contention for that in the next lap and a half, if he continues his pace. So Elma Jacko is just 3/10 behind Josh. Josh is just 2/10 behind Slayer Eyes up ahead. Thinks about making a move down the inside, but doesn't have enough room, but that allows Jacko to get up alongside Josh. Able to make the move on one. Is Jacko able to make on Slayer Eyes 2? No, he does it. Jacko is determined to get himself back up to fighting for that win. He's got about 6.7 seconds he's got to work against, though, just to catch up to his teammate, who's 1.7 off of the lead at the moment. This has been some great racing as Josh is staying pretty close there on the back of that Williams of Slayer Eyes. He's not ready to give this one up just yet. He's going to have a couple of penalties to play with towards the end. And with all these safety cars, the field hasn't been able to spread out a whole lot more, so he's going to definitely see some changing of positions due to these penalties, I bet you. Just 3 seconds for everybody, though. So, who knows? Maybe they're able to make something happen with this. You see DRS wings open. Josh is thinking about making a move there. Doesn't have nearly enough pace to close that gap down. Slayer is just content, just holding on, just working on fighting back against Jacko up ahead of him. Is looking like he's just pulling away a little bit more, ever so slightly. See what he's able to do out of this corner, as Meeb has closed down that gap by 3/10 yet again. So not quite back into the DRS window, but he is getting himself very close. As Slayer and Josh are both using DRS. Jacko does not have DRS though, so that is going to be something to watch out for. Jacko is going to be having to burn a little bit more ERS. He's got about 70% to play with, as opposed to Slayer at 14%. And Josh has got about half tank of ERS there to play with too. So these guys are going to be pushing very consistently. It's probably the game you're going to want to be playing at this point. If you can just make minimal mistakes, you should be able to capitalize on anybody going wide a little bit. It's pretty hard to keep going in these 100% races, especially at this point. It's when everyone is going to be starting to get a little worn down, not able to fight back too much against that fatigue that they're going to be facing. But I've said it before and I'll say it again because I am shameless. Pick up some Ray's energy, you know. These things will keep you awake for these sort of races. I drink one before every single race, and helps me hit the walls just a little bit faster. But these guys are a lot better, a lot more skilled than me to be able to perform feats like this. These races are no joke. I've done a few in the past, and Definitely takes a lot out of the driver. Valentine, he was running up on P1 for a while there, still sitting back in 7th, had an unfortunate spin, dropped him down a little bit, but able to fight that back. His forward also had a spin, is going to be pretty much out of the runnings, I would say, as far as getting back up into the top 5, unless we get a late safety car here. But Lancey is able to hold out that lead still. He's got about 1.2 seconds, able to edge out Mead just a little bit. He's got 21 more laps he's got to hold this out on. Not sure if he's going to be able to do that. He is going to have the overtake on advantage over Mead, though. Mead's on about 14 compared to Lancey's 45. Mead is going a little bit slower now than his fastest lap attempts, so just slowing down just a skosh there. This McLaren has been on rails, though, and strong showing, especially from these top 3 drivers, to be as consistent as they are and as fast as they are, as we're going to see Slayer Eyes get passed by Josh SR5 there. Josh has have a 3-second penalty to his name that he's going to want to try to negate. Going to need to close out at a little bit more speed if he wants to hold this position. See what he's able to do for us. But the top 3 runners all running medium. Fastest tire compounds on the track currently. You may see someone going for the late pits like Valentine may, or Baba Yaga may try something with the softs towards the end here. Not sure give them the pace they need. Will make something work for them. There's the end. Just 20 laps now. Cars are starting to run out of fuel a little bit more. They're going to be a little bit easier to take around the corners. Mead is slowed down to a 1.5 second gap. He's had that close down to almost a second, just barely on the edge of DRS, as we're going to see Valentine DNF. That is unfortunate. Looks like we will see another safety car. That brings us up to 5 safety cars for this race, so this is going to be huge. Baba Yaga is able to make his way into the pits, forward on 29 lap old hards as well. Don't imagine he's going to be coming into the pits, as he may be out of a fresh set of tires unless he's got a set of softs. Sweaty hands, yeah, no, you're driving pretty hard race there, Valentine. It was pretty fun to watch. I was bummed, but you had that spin though, but you'll be able to bounce back, I know it. As you're gonna see, forward makes a dive into the pits. He might be taking some soft tires. Looks like he's going for a set of mediums, 8 lap old medium tires from a previous stint. So this field is going to get bunched up a lot more now. Again, is going to see not really what Lancey's going to want, but him and me both making a dive into the pits. Their tires are only 13 laps old, but I imagine they might think about taking a set of softs. Looks like that's what McLaren is going to be taking, as is Meeb there. So this is going to be a battle of who's got the better tire management skills here for the end of these. We got only going to have about 15-16 laps of racing for the end. We're going to see Lancey makes his way out into 3rd. They're ahead of everyone else, as Meeb is dropped down to P6 due to traffic. So Meeb's going to have a little bit more of a challenge. Lancey's going to be pretty happy with that, especially seeing Josh SR5 and Alma Jacko up ahead of him. Alma Jacko is currently leading once again, 13 lap old mediums. Josh SR5 has made his way up. Beautiful race from him on those 14 lap old hards. Let's see what these guys are putting in for some faster lap times. Looks like Majako does have a faster lap time over Josh SR5, a little bit more pace in his car, but Lancey is faster than both of them and on the fresher set of tires. So we'll see what they're able to do. Josh has 3 seconds penalties. Bill's got 3 seconds as well. You see Alma Jacko and Josh SR5 both up 14 places, so that'd be 15th and 16th respectively for them. So great races from them to be able to turn around those qualifying results they had. I believe they both were out in Q1. They would have been, yeah. So hard press for them. They got 3 stops between the top 4 drivers. Ford is making 4 stops. He's going to claim that title today as most pitted driver. Mead is currently holding the fastest lap, the 107.7. Just down to 9 drivers now, unfortunately. We have lost 7 along the way. So Lancey is... I believe Lancey's going to have a pretty solid shot here at winning this race. Especially, I know he's definitely going to have the pace advantage over Josh on those hard tires. Elma Jacko is one of our most talented drivers, so maybe we're going to see him pull something crazy out of his hat with those medium tires, but if not, you know, this may come down to just pure pace of the tires and whose tires are going to have how much life left in them by the end. Coming around this corner mighty slow, we've got Baba Yaga and Forward, the only two drivers not back up in the safety car queue, but they'll be up here in no time. We may go green this lap, not sure. Might go around one more time just to be safe. These guys are warming up their tires like they're ready to go though, so we may be seeing green flags here soon. He's not the only alpha running tonight. Baba Yaga's been keeping an eye on him all season, and he's been progressing very well, so proud of him for everything that he's been able to put in this season. And safety car is going to be coming in this lap, so we are getting ready to go green. Baba Yaga on a fresh set of softs, Forward on a 10-lap old set of mediums. Still a lot of life left in those tires though. So we're going to see all of these guys up here at the front are going to be warming up, doing their final preparations. See what kind of strategy Elma Jacko's got here for this restart, as the safety car is just starting to make its way into the pits now. So it is entirely up to Jacko to set the pace here, and it looks like he just wants to get on with it. Get this over. He's probably wanting to go to bed here soon. It's been in the car for quite a while. As we're going green again, no position changes right off the start. You can see these guys all staying pretty level. Meeb is might be making a move here on Catman, as he is going to come up alongside of him and does get ahead of him coming into that corner there. Now he's just got Slayeraz just a half a second up ahead of him. Slayeraz down a second though from the start on Lancey, who's on those fresh set of soft tires. That is to be expected. These guys are all showing pretty good pace though on their respective tires. I always love when we get a nice mix of all three tire compounds towards the end of a race. Lets you really see the true pace of these tires and the drivers, and who's going to have the better control over their tire wear. As Lancey get mighty close there, thinks about, slides it up the inside on Josh there. That was fantastic racing. Wow, what a move. That was brave. Does well to stick that on there. The extra traction that those soft tires allowed made it pretty easy for him, maybe. I'm not sure. Can't say I've ever pulled off an overtake like that. But that was beautiful to watch, as we're going to see Meeb getting right up alongside Slayeraz coming into this corner. Let's see who's going to come out on top. Looks like Meeb has to back off a little bit, gets a little bit of contact there with Slayeraz. Can't tell if we're going to see any damage on these guys. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, both of them going wheel to wheel yet again. These guys are insane, out of their minds for some of the stuff they pull, as Mead gets past him there. Beautiful racing there. So we got the two soft tire runners making great use of that extra traction that they have on those soft tires while they have it still to get around some of these guys. So Mead is up in fourth place and looks like he may be challenging Josh here shortly. Josh is starting to fall back just a little bit from Lancey and Jacko. Lancey is now just 0.3 seconds off of Jacko. Once the DRS opens up, and if these tires still have a little bit of life, extra life in them, the kind of glaze you get on the first few runs of qualifying I was talking about a little bit earlier tonight, you would definitely be able to. Lancey set to 107.6, the fastest lap time. DRS is available now, just 2/10 behind, so he should be hooking it up here. Getting ready to make a move there. His flap is open and he makes it look easy with how he breezes around the outside of him there. So Jacko now is going to have an opportunity to fight back, as Meeb gets ahead of Josh as well down that straight. Now Jacko's going to have the DRS. Forward makes a move on Vil on those 13-lap over 18-lap old hards. You see Josh is going to want to extend his gap, as he does still have 3 seconds worth of penalties, which would drop him down to P5 at the moment. Or P6, excuse me. No, Catman is on 21-lap old hards, the oldest tires we've got running, but he's been showing pretty solid pace there. I know Catman is able to hook those tires up once they're in the middle of the life. That's when he usually seems to show his best pace, able to manage his tires very well throughout a race. Something every driver definitely needs to learn and aspires to learn, but doesn't mean much if Forward is just going to breeze around the outside of you. Lancey with another fastest lap of 107.2. Now stretch that lead out to 0.7 seconds there. Jacko not able to fight back too much on that. You see pretty close field throughout the rest of this here. Forward is just about 6/10 off of Slayerized. And Catman is just 8/10 behind that. Veil just 4/10 behind that. So Baba Yaga as well. 0.5 seconds behind. He's on a set of newer soft tires, so he's going to have a little bit more pace. Let's see what he's able to do. Let's see, anyone in chat, I want to hear your predictions, crazy theories on how this race is going to play out. I want to see who you guys got on the win here. Josh is now 3.2 seconds down on Meeb. Meeb was running ahead for the first couple stints of this race, you could call it. Little safety cars in there to chop it up a little bit, reorganize the field, bring everyone back together. And throughout all that, he has dropped himself down 2 places, but was having a very dominant start, showing real pace. Him, Jacko, and Lancey have all been battling very significantly throughout this race. It's clean, a lot of fun to watch. These guys are very talented. Seen Josh make a great comeback. Slayerized loses out to Forward though. Forward on the fresher medium tire is going to have that a little bit of extra pace as Catman drops down to Bill. Might have been a swap around, not entirely sure. Looks like these guys are kind of going back at it though. Staying pretty close to each other. 2 Ferraris running in this race. Baba Yaga just behind them. He's able to close down that gap a little bit. Might be able to make something happen here in the final little sectors of this race here. Lancey's now got himself almost out of DRS threat of Jacko, and if he can do that, I think he's going to see himself up in a great spot. Jacko does have a little bit more ERS than Lancey does, but not a whole lot. He sees himself outside that second. If he can just hold on to that a little bit longer, as Meeb is now making his way back onto Jacko. These 2 teammates have been scrapping it out for the first little bit of the race. They were kind of battling there, kind of giving each other a tow. And they decided gloves are off, and they're just going at it here, trying to see who can come out on top. Got Josh is now 4.9 seconds down as Meeb makes a pass on Jacko, gets up alongside of him. Doesn't have the move done yet though. As they go out to the outside, pushes Jacko wide, but they stay wheel to wheel. These teammates not make contact with each other, which is very important as teammates. But they're just level pegging down the stretch, but Meeb has to give out there in the end as Jacko loses his DRS to Lancey, and due to all this fighting back here, Lancey's going to really enjoy that. Although he does have Meeb behind him on the same tire life, same set of tires. Jacko's doing well to keep him behind on those 20-lap-old mediums over 7-lap-old softs. You'd think this move would be done easily, but Jacko is one of those drivers, I can say, just doesn't ever give up during a race. He is just always on it, super consistent, level-headed guy. Love interviews with him. Meeb isn't able to make anything happen just yet. As Baba Yaga has dropped down to half a second behind Catman, so maybe losing a little bit of an edge with those tires there as Meeb makes a move up on Jacko now. They get alongside of each other. Jacko definitely has enough room to get it done this time. Had a little trouble the first time around last lap, but makes the move work here. Slides in ahead of him. Now he's going to be 1.9 seconds off of Lancey up in P1. Jacko's going to have that DRS though for a while as he's 4.4 seconds down. Probably going to be able to hold on to this for quite a while on those tires, and with that DRS and ERS advantage. You got Meeb is down on 11% right now, so he's not going to be able to cut into that gap of Lancey that Lancey's built up. This is actually falling just a little bit back. Jacko might be in contention to still take this P2 off of his teammate here, which would be pretty interesting to see. See Forward and Slayerized is also within a second of drivers ahead of them. Josh R is going to be defending for his life against Forward on Red Bull on those medium tires. It's a little bit farther back. These top 3 drivers have really just been in a league of their own tonight. Hardly a mistake between the 3 drivers. Lancey was spun. I don't think that was any fault of his own, but he has done well to make this race work for him as Forward is making his move now on Josh. Comes up alongside of him down the straight. Still got plenty of room to make this move work. Depends on who's going to be last on the brakes here. And it looks like Josh thinks about it, tries it, but Forward is able to hold out the edge there. as Slayer Eyes is sitting back watching, but Josh fights back actually, and forward has to slide it back in behind him. The DRS though, I see Baba Yaga DNF. That is unfortunate to see. Hopefully we don't get ourselves another safety car. It's just 10 laps to go. We've got ourselves a safety car, 8 drivers still in the runnings here. This is going to be exciting. Oh man, we got these top 3 guys all showing incredible pace all race. I don't think you could tell who's the faster driver out here tonight. We're going to see if anyone makes a run into the pits. As we do, we see Lancey and me both going into the pits. That's very interesting. We definitely should have been able to keep those tires going a little bit longer. So that's going to hand Jacko the lead of the race, which I'm sure he's going to be very happy with. To slot himself up. Catman is now down into the 8th spot. Is he pitting? No, he's not. Catman is still up ahead. Catman did not pit, and that promotes him up to P2 actually, as everyone else runs into the pits. So that is a big change there for Catman, able to stretch the life of those tires out quite a while. And those 27 laps there has paid off for him in the end, but he is going to have everyone behind him on a set of soft tires as well. They all had new sets. Slayer Eyes looks like he's got a lap on his, might have been a set from qualifying, but this is going to be an intense final little shootout here. I got a miniature sprint race for you. These guys, see if Jacko's able to run away with this, or if Catman's going to be able to fight back at all. As Lancey though is going to have that gap closed up, and Meeb is going to be right there behind him as well. These guys have already caught back up. So probably some of the fastest lap times I've seen set around here. These guys have been consistent and steady throughout this whole race, which you love to see, especially in these endurance series. You're doing a lot better, Baba. Yeah, that was a phenomenal run for you. Yeah, you've been fun to watch all night. Great job. That's what I gotta say for that. This is a tough track, long race like this. These drivers are all gonna be pretty tired, and it doesn't take much, and your race can be over. But you are learning. You're doing great. Keep it up, man. See just a few penalties now across the board. Josh and Bill are the only 2, and I believe they're still on 3 seconds. Yes, they are. So these safety cars have pretty much ruined their chances of getting rid of those time penalties by getting 3 seconds gap built up on any of the drivers behind them. But in a race like this, I think these guys are just going to be happy to finish. Going this long into a race is definitely no easy task. Lap 63 of 71, so we're only going to have about 7, 8 laps of clean racing here. So I believe the safety car is going to be in this lap, and we're going to get that final shootout. Hopefully Catman's going to be able to hold on in that Ferrari up there in 2nd place. His teammate down in 8th place. Safety car is coming in this lap, so Jacko's going to lead us around once again, set the pace for everybody once that safety car disappears, and see where everyone goes from here. Lancey is itching to go. He's got his tires all warmed up now, it looks like. Getting some heat into the rear now. Me behind him has been probably the fastest guy out here tonight. I don't think his lap time is that representative of that. Nope, Lancey's got the fastest lap time, but barely faster than Meeb. He just got himself 600ths of a second. These guys are pushing each other beautifully, which I just love to see as we're coming around now, as Catman follows Jacko into the final corner, and we're getting ready to go green. Lancey's getting himself a nice run here at that restart. He's got it figured out. 5th time's a charm, right? Figuring out this out. It stays very close. Grabs a little much curb there. Don't think that caused him any damage though, as he is right up alongside Catman and makes that move. Beautiful on those. Yeah. So we got, oh man, contact here. Catman and forward come together, it looks like, and Bill gets a little piece of that. I was gonna see forward and Bill lose out. Slayer Eyes moves up. Catman is down in 4th on those older tires. Didn't really stand much of a chance against those soft runners. Lancey and Meeb are definitely going to be fighting this one out. Jacko's just going to want to stretch this gap as much as he can. He's got 1.9 seconds currently. So not a whole lot to work with there, and that gap is rapidly coming down. Those soft tires are just so much faster coming through those corners. So you're going to see Catman lose out again to Slayer Eyes, trying to fight it back a little bit. But he gives another position up to his teammate, as Forward gets himself into this mix as well. Josh is bringing up the back, as Lancey is now just 3/10 behind Jacko. Jacko is going to be given everything he's got for these last little bits. Lancey's on 74. They're both on equal, all three of these top drivers on pretty equal ERS levels. So this is going to come down to tire management and hitting your braking points just right. Ford has moved himself back up ahead of Slayer Eyes. On the next lap around, they did come together there. Catman, Bill, Forward all got a little tangled up there. Nobody spun around though. Everyone was able to keep the cars going in a straight line. So you're going to see a pretty straightforward shot here. These top three drivers, I cannot stress enough how great these guys have been driving all night. Don't get to see stuff like this very often, as Mead is just 1.3 seconds behind Lancey. Thinks about making a move happen. Gets up in there, gets a little bit of contact, doesn't result in anything too bad, as they're coming down to the wire here out of the final corner and nobody goes wide. Able to keep it all going in a straight line. DRS is enabled now, as Lancey thinks about making a move there just a little bit. These guys don't have room to make any accidents, as my cat is just going insane behind me. She's loving this just as much as I am, as Lancey takes over the lead. Jacko, all three of these guys going almost side by side into this corner. Wow. This is incredible. Jacko is able to slot back in there. He's got his DRS flap open, as he loses out to Mead momentarily. Are they able to hold it around the corner? They have a little bit of contact, but Mead gets the lead in the end of all of that. Looks like Jacko backed off a little bit, allowed Mead to slap back up in there, and I'm not sure if Jacko's going to have much more pace to catch back up in that gap. Lancey has got himself a 3-second time penalty though for track violations, so that is going to see him demoted all the way down to 4th position if everyone stays as consistent and close as they are right now. So Lance is going to have to put down a lot if he wants to get up ahead. So Meeb is just 0.4 seconds behind him. I'm not sure how many warnings Meeb's on though. I imagine he's got to be getting pretty close to penalty territory as well though, with how long this race is and how these guys have been driving. I haven't been keeping too close attention on where his track limits are. Gets right up there, 0.3 seconds behind, as Josh makes a move on Catman, who's running those 32 lap holds, everyone else on softs. It's not going to be a whole lot you can do about that. But Chaco is not giving up this fight here. If he can just stay consistently close to these guys, he is going to see himself move up into P2 with that penalty that Lancey has now. That is an unfortunate penalty for him. It's a great race up until now. That would have been a very impressive feat, yes. I know Jacko can do it. He's definitely got the pace. No matter what tires you stick him on, I feel like he's still going to blow your mind. And he is just slowly slipping, though, to that outside of that second gap. So if he doesn't close it down, yeah, he's not going to have DRS down this next straight. So these top two guys might be gone as far as staying in that DRS window. But if he can just hold on for 3 more laps here, he will see himself promoted up a spot. As you see, Forward down just a little bit behind, and the Red Bull still consistently with Forward there, or excuse me, with Slayer Eyes there. 4 turns off, no penalties. Slayer Eyes running some penalties. Vil and Josh both have 3-second penalties as well. So as long as Forward stays here, he is going to see himself move up to P4. Don't think he's got enough pace to see P2. Or P3, excuse me. As Lancey is still holding out that lead on Mead. Mead is just 0.48 behind. Jacko has slipped down to 1.3. Slayer's the 1.8 behind that on a penalty though. Forward, Mead, and Jacko, the only 3 without penalties. They are going to be looking to improve. Catman doesn't have a penalty either, so he will see himself move up into P7 as they finish as they stand now. So we're coming into the final 2 laps here, and everyone's going to be pushing as comfortably as they can at this point. As we see Mead going for the overtake, wants to get this battle done on track, and they come together. Everyone keeps going in a straight line though. That was very close to ruining both of their races as Lancey slides back ahead of him there. Not able to keep that lead with that contact they had there. Slowed them down, threw them off their groove a little bit. Mead is going to drop back. It's a little bit, but that is a very close battle up there in the front. So you see this Alpine has been giving us a very strong show all week. These guys are all just super close together. Love seeing races end like this. Mead is just right there. Yes, the battling up front is definitely helping Jacko close down that gap a little bit. I think he slipped back a little bit farther than last time I was looking at it, but he is definitely still going to be able to move himself up with that penalty that Lancey has. I believe you might even see Slayer Eyes might take advantage of this as Mead makes a move now on Lancey. Gets it done. Is Lancey able to fight back? Gets the DRS opened up and see what kind of pace he's got. 57 to 11. 11% for Mead on ERS. 57 for Lancey. Coming down to this corner here late on the brakes. Gets himself up. Slotted in there a little bit. Forward makes a move on Slayer Eyes. Jacko is still just hanging out in the back there. Not able to do too much. Lap 70 of 71 now. They're coming down to this corner. It is all going to kind of come down to this last lap. If Lancey can get himself a little bit bigger of a gap here, he's not going to drop down to P4. Forward is going to be pushing with everything he's got to close down that gap though. You're going to see Slayer Eyes right on the back of Forward once again though. Mead set a fastest lap with a 107.122. Don't think anyone's going to be able to beat that on this final lap is where we're at right now. Just coming out of turn 1. Lancey is holding just 0.3 behind. Imagine he wants to make at least one more pass. Josh has got himself another 3-second penalty, so that is going to allow Catman a promotion as well, I believe. If he can, I think he's just got to close down that gap a little bit. Lancey is pushing at everything though, as he just set the fastest sector one time of the evening. 0.2 seconds behind. He's thinking about going around the outside. He is making it. They get a little close. A little bit of contact there. As you can see, Mead already has a little bit of damage to his front wing, but they're not giving it up, and oh my goodness, off they go. Able to stay going in a straight line though. That, wow. Definitely thought both their races was over there for a second though, but that's allowed Jacko back up into this, as Ville's got himself a 3-second penalty, and I don't think anyone's got anything for Mead in this final corner. They're just going to be crossing the line now is what they want to do. That was a very scary contact there at the end, but they were able to keep it going in the end, and Mead is going to come home to win for you tonight after I think we saw 5 different drivers leading this race at different points, followed by Jacko in P2, Forward P3. Lancey gets demoted to P4 with his penalty that he had. But that is some phenomenal racing there. Jacko has done wonderfully yet again. I think every time he comes out here. Yep, driver of the day, as he richly deserves it. I'd say Lancey had a fair shot at getting that driver of the day though as well. That was beautiful, beautiful racing we saw from these guys all night long. Love to see it. Got both Alpines both up on the podium there and Forward. That was yeah, that last half lap, wow, was very intense. This race was crazy start to finish. I honestly couldn't have told you who was going to win at any point. But shout out to Ville in the chat saying that Mead was going to have pace to win this race. As he has shown us, he definitely does have the pace for that. These 100% races are a lot of fun to commentate. Just love this. See here, grab some snapshots for the standings real quick, and don't go anywhere. We're gonna get these guys in here, the top 3 or 4 drivers in for interviews here, so everyone hang on tight and we'll get that going for you here in just a sec. Yeah, it's my privilege. Thanks for tuning in, watching the stream here. I love commentating this stuff. Y'all are the goats. Like, it's just so much fun. Gonna join into a party here. Try to get a party going.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Sweet. What a race, you guys. You guys are insane.
Yeah, it's certainly better race for me than it was to qualifying.
Yeah, no.
Did you see what happened?
I don't think I saw exactly what happened for you there.
Good. It was embarrassing.
But you definitely proved anyone wrong with that race performance. Yeah, that was incredible racing you guys had for that. Oh my goodness. That last,
I should have pit on that last safety car. I didn't know whether the stack would force me too far back, but everyone pit, so...
Oh yeah, that was a hard one. I think everyone just dove into there at the last minute.
Yeah.
But
that's fine. I'm happy with that result.
You know, that was a great race there. Strong weekend for Alpine for you guys.
Oh yeah, of course, big time.
Not that you guys really needed all the points there. Me and you guys are pretty dominant all season long. But
yeah, I think I've had like 3 different teammates in that as well.
I think so as well.
Yeah, there's so much turnover in this league. It's crazy. Like, I think people just get so tired of it after a while, and it's like, just peace out.
No reason to get tired of it. But when I saw that Mev had been announced as my teammate, I'm like, well, Alpine's scoring a lot of points today.
Yes. I know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I feel like I always give you a really good teammate. I need to stop doing that.
Here, next time out, I'll just hop in the car with him actually, and that way I'll slow Alpine down a little bit.
You want to tell them? You want to tell them what exactly happened?
Yeah, no, that was insane. So first off, I was muted for like the first 15 minutes of qualifying.
Oh.
But I feel like it was great commentary. And then the game crashes and I load back in and I'm sitting on the grid in an Alpha Tauri, just ready to go.
Yeah, I saw that you were on the grid. I was like, huh?
Yeah, so had a brief soiree there. And let me tell you, these cars are not easy to control on a controller. I was nightmare trying to get back to the pits in time. But yeah, so anyway, let's get into a couple questions here. So what was your strategy with qualifying so far back? What was your strategy going into the start of the race? What were you thinking was going to be your best bet for getting some good points tonight?
The only real advantage you have when you go out in Q1 is that you've got a ton of softs at your disposal for the race, so I thought I would start on softs and see what transpires.
Jacko, can you talk about what happened in quali? I didn't see it.
I can. It's very embarrassing. It involves a wall and no one else other than myself. Basically, I wanted to save inters because I thought I'd use them for the rest of quali, so I went out on wets to try and beat my time in case Scuba Steve was able to improve, because there was only one person able to beat. You need only to beat one person to make it out of Q1, and so I just went out on wets and on the outlap dumped it on the second last corner's exit curb and then went to the right into that wall where the pit entry is, really slowly, like in slow motion almost, and just lost the right front.
I can picture that exactly because I have done that exactly, so I won't tell anyone if you don't, but...
Well, I mean, either way, I was like, at this point I'm going for the hardest charger point, which I assume I got.
I think so.
So yeah, that was alright, I guess. In the race, as I say, Meb being my teammate in front of me influenced the last safety car pit stop, not going in. because I didn't know how many would pit behind, and I thought I might fall back. As it happens, I probably would have been the exact, like the one car behind them. Which I mean, I probably still would have been in the same position. So I don't think I'm too unhappy with my decision in the end. The racing was fair from what I could see. I know that Lanzi and Meb had it coming together on the last lap, but I was too far back to see exactly what happened. So
yeah, they just
comment on that.
Kind of got a little bit into it. I think do we got both of them in the party now?
We do, yeah.
All right, let's jump to Meb. Let's see what was your strategy for this whole race here?
What was your original strategy plan? Were you gonna go hard soft, hard medium?
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, no, there's that many safety cars. It definitely makes it hard for you guys to keep your strategies going.
Was it 6? Jeez, I didn't even think that was possible.
You know, that last safety car definitely changed things up.
All right, so I have a confession, guys, to make. This is a commissioner's confession here for me tonight. I forgot to put the safety car on reduced. So.
Oh, that explains it.
Yeah, that would explain it. So
okay.
You're welcome for the great race.
Yeah, no, thank you. Like, this was probably the most fun race I've had to commentate.
It was a very fun race on my end. I mean, 5 pit stops. Like, you can't really beat that.
You were going up and down the leader standings there tonight.
Yeah, that was basically the story of my race tonight. But really, I do applaud top 3 tonight. I mean, it was Lancey and Meb and Jacko, like, you guys were on another level.
Yeah, definitely.
Race. And the last lap, that's the thing is with these races, you got to stick it in there till the last lap, and anything can happen. But that's how it goes in this series. So
we got Lancey in here, right? I wanted to ask Lancey, what was your strategy for this race coming into this? I don't think we've got to you yet.
Well, I tried starting the source because I knew like an 100% didn't go pretty well, especially if there's a safety car early. Unfortunately, I spun like an idiot, so I was at the back of the grid. From there on, it was just surviving, just from safety car to safety car, basically.
Well, you have.
Yeah, pace was good. First stint, I had a bit of trouble to stay with the Jacko through the traffic.
No, that was a beautiful race from you 3 up there at the front, like completely in a league of your own. I couldn't believe some of the passes you guys were making on each other. I never would have even thought to overtake in some of those places.
That was very respectful, I think.
Mm-hmm.
A little coming to get on the last lap, but it is what it is. From the rest, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do love that you said we did well when 2 of the 3 of us spun in that race.
Hey, well, even with your spins though, like, you guys came back every time anything got in your guys' way. You just went right around it.
Well, yeah. In fact, I'm looking right now in my theatre mode, and when I spun in the what is this? Just the start of the last sector, Lansy was millimeters from hitting me and possibly like breaking his wing. That was lucky for us, I guess.
Very much so.
I saw you spin in front of me. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I don't think I was ghosting. I don't think I was.
Yeah, no. If I'm saying this correctly, we have ghosting off. Is that right? Forward.
Yeah. No, ghosting is off. Yeah. Yeah, no, I proved that when Grumpy was perpendicular in the road and got wing damage with like 5 laps to go. So.
Yeah, I think the story with ghosting is though that when you're during the spin, you're still at speed. You don't start ghosting until you're at a massive speed differential to the cars around you. So at the point where I was sort of like half sideways, I think I was still solid.
Yeah, well, I got a question for you guys. I mean, this is kind of for the group, but so we're looking forward to season 2. You know, we're obviously looking to keep drivers around and, you know, keep the league interesting. Is there anything that you guys think could be done to improve the league? Anything that, you know, maybe sim damage, make it a little bit more interesting? I don't know. I mean, I'm really looking for guys' input, you know, on what we can do to make the league better.
I mean, I think, you know, 100% sim damage is pretty brutal.
I agree. Yeah. I think that would, yeah, that was kind of a joke, but because I don't think a lot of people would have the motivation to finish the race.
I think from the rest, like the full quali and all, I think that's amazing. You know, like it's you don't do it every day. I find it quite fun to do full quali, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's been great so far that we've been able to get the numbers every single race to be able to do full quali. It's, you know, it's contingent on 15 drivers or more, so that's been great that we've gotten the numbers to do that.
I was talking to Jacko, I jokingly said, like, if we have 50, you can all just retire, just start Q2.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, I think that if there is 15, still load in with full quali, and everyone just retire manually after loading their setup, and it should work.
Well, I think we started with, 17, and then we had 2 people that were DSQ'd, so I don't know why people were still doing laps after that.
I feel like full quali, it's like we don't normally do that enough, so nobody, like, really completely understands how it works. Yeah. So they just go out just to be safe.
That the number is 14, not 15. So that might be why.
I also think people maybe not everyone knows that if you crash out, then they need to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's also not clear, like, maybe you need to set a lap time as well. But I know you don't, but they might think that they have to.
Yeah, some of these quali rules are a little confusing, but I do have one suggestion for making this a little bit better. So we can find another co-host to help me out with all this.
I'm trying to get Crash to do it. I mean, maybe we can get him for the season finale in Abu Dhabi.
I hope that'd be sweet.
Something like that. We can maybe work something like that out.
We'll bribe him with something.
It's a bit of a job to do it, right? 3 hours, I imagine.
Yeah, a little bit, but I mean, as long as you guys keep doing this, I mean, I will have 0 complaints for the rest of the season. This was a great race.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you had a co-com too, you know, the time would go by a little bit quicker, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
What do you guys think about doing a sort of sprint race format for next season?
So are you suggesting that we do full qualifying, a sprint race, and 100%? And the sprint race
I'm
also
thinking you maybe shorten up qualifying. You could maybe do one shot or short.
I would do short then.
I would definitely not do one shot if we're doing...
Well, I don't know, because the 25% is what, like 25 minutes, shorts 18?
This is interesting.
So you combine full quali with a sprint extra, right?
I think the best way to do it would be short, and then 25%, then 100%, because...
Can you do that?
At 20%.
I would think so.
I think you can at this point.
Are the sprint and the main race locked at the same percentage, or can you adjust?
Yeah, but then the sprint will be 20%. That's how it is in real life. You just get the real life sprint. I would say.
I think so. We might have to get a little test running.
Yeah, have a look at the settings, I think, on that one. But I'd be down for that.
I think that'd be cool.
Probably
and maybe
not with full quality, but sure.
And maybe even if we want to...
I think you can do...
but I think everyone else probably wouldn't.
Yeah, if you do sprint and race weekend structure, you can do short quali, then full. So it'd be, like I said, short and 25%, 100%.
It's definitely something to think about. Depends on what else thinks, because it is a...
If you're going to do that at only select tracks, make sure you do it at tracks that are don't have too many laps. Like Singapore we'd be here for 4 hours.
Especially
if it rains, oh my god.
Oh jeez.
I'll give you guys a little hint of next season's schedule. I'm not gonna reveal all of it.
Do we want this on stream or no? I should ask right now.
You can have it on stream, right, but it's just I'm just gonna give you a couple. I'll give you 3 or 4. How about that?
Well, first, how long's the calendar? Is it the same length?
It's gonna be a couple races longer, so it's gonna be 8 or 9. Still working that out. But as of right now, we're going to have Australia. We're going to have Canada, and we're going to have COTA.
Oh, juicy.
That is a good
it's just my little tidbit for tonight. It's in the works, but yeah, I'll look into that, and we'll see what race or races would be best for sprint. I'm guessing it'd probably be two of the races.
Yeah, that sounds better.
That'd be a lot of fun.
With regard to the idea of like, is there anything else we could do to improve? I think the league is already sufficiently different to have like a unique selling point. So
right.
I don't think that there's that. You don't need some unique selling point. And I think all your decisions so far have been, more than reasonable, even fantastic. So I don't see any issue at all. There's nothing bad about it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just, you wonder why so many people drop out and so many people, think the league isn't for them, right? So, I mean, I don't know if it's just the time of the race.
It's the idea of being there for so long. Like 50%, some people already find too long, and that's not the majority of us. But in this league, I guarantee not everyone is going to want to do 100% races.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I think you're already limited by that, which is fine. As long as you have one division, it's fine.
Yeah, and I think at the beginning of the season we had a lot of guys that were just, raring to go, just ready to do it.
Yeah.
But life changes, and sometimes Friday nights aren't the best.
It's already done sometimes.
Yeah.
Some people may have been discouraged by the how not close the title is. I guess there's always that.
I guess that could play. But you should probably slow down then.
That brings up a good point. I don't know if this would generally change a lot of things, but I was thinking maybe moving the point structure more towards like Division 1 level, where it's like 100 points for P1. I don't know if you guys have a thought about that, or if we should leave it as it is.
Go ahead.
I would maybe think a bit of a long shot, but if the grid is like this different in base, you could run it on realistic.
I'm out if you run realistic. I don't find that fun at all.
Yeah. We've had this discussion before, but it's just the guys in the middle of the pack are really the ones that are dominant. Like take guys like Slayer Eyes or Grumpy, for example. Like you put them in a pretty decent car and they're gonna do just as well, if not better than the higher up guys. So
the other thing is it's fine for a one-off race, like the interdivisional races. But if you do a whole season like that, unless you change cars between each race, reserves are going to really mess with that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can't have reserves actually if you ever get them.
I mean, that's definitely something that we can test in the off season before the next season. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's a discussion for another time.
The other thing I would point out is that, assuming you want to reverse the championship order in terms of what cars you hand out in a realistic race, I would be, well, given that I'm the championship leader, probably one of the top cars, right? I'm not the fastest guy though. I'm there because I've raced at every race. I've not crashed. So you're going to have guys in like the almost like an Alfa Romeo, where I'm in a Williams or a Haas, who are already like a second faster than me. Your light works, your NFS bucks, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it might not be as balanced as you think.
Yeah, that's good point. But I guess that just comes down to a skill issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think that whoever wins that, if they win it in a slow car, won't be that happy. Sorry, if they win it in a fast car, they won't be that happy with it. And then everyone who's 10th in a Haas is going to be like, that wasn't that fun. So I don't know if anyone's going to really enjoy that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to, especially if it's only like one division, to like kind of spread out the skill base a little bit, because I feel like with all of the different divisions normally, it would be easier to place people better according to skill and stuff like that. But when it's just kind of like this, just a ragtag of whoever's available, and you got like 15 normals and some subs or whatever, it'd be kind of hard to gauge pace consistently.
Yeah, that's really what we're going for, right? Is like guys that are gonna, be consistent in the race and also be consistent in showing up and, having good attendance.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, like Friday nights, sometimes you want to go to the bar, do whatever, but
yeah,
it's good to have that level of consistency on track and off track too.
Mm-hmm. And maybe even something we could try if we wanted to go for like those longer sprints or something is, I was in a league where we would have qualifying on Fridays and then we'd race on Saturdays, and maybe we could look at something like that with splitting up the racing.
Yeah, I'd be careful with that. I'd be very careful, because there might be other leagues that will start to clash with, and they'll only do one session.
Oh, I guess it is,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought that up to some of the commissioners, and that was pretty much shot down immediately. So.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely find 2 days that MidWest doesn't race, but there might be other leagues that you're drawing from, and that might be a problem.
Yeah. One of these days we'll get a formula figured out perfectly, though, I bet you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's important that we continue like refining and making our best presentation, so guys like you guys can stick around and have some good racing in the future. So
big time. So don't suppose you were looking at the point situation during the race? Is there a champion yet, or no?
Actually, I should probably look at that map. Let's see.
Wait, Majako, what'd you come in tonight?
I don't know, because there might be penalties overturned. Lanzi was saying that he's third. One of his 3 penalties, one of his 3 warnings was questionable, so maybe third.
Okay.
So
I don't think it's locked up yet. There was a
18 plus 1, 19.
There was a 36-point lead over Ginnett.
And he didn't race.
Yeah. Yeah, 36 lead.
36 plus 19 is 55. 2 races left, right? I don't think he can. He can't do it because you can't get hardest charger and pole, can you?
No.
No.
And who's the forward? Oh, where did you come forward?
I was, well, it's obviously pending the Lancy thing, but I was P3 based on that, but it would be P4.
Okay, so let's say
not
16. Oh yeah, so you're within that as well. So yeah, it's not champion.
Okay.
Next week, we'll probably get it all buttoned up though. 'Cause I guess we're heading to Brazil, if I'm not correct. Yes,
yep.
Brazil,
then Abu Dhabi. It's going to be another long one, just like Austria, with what, 70-some laps.
Yeah, Brazil is. I've done a couple hundreds there. Yeah.
72, I think. Yeah. Shit.
You know, that's a challenging race. I can tell you that much. You know, especially in 100%.
I don't even think I've had a league race at Brazil yet on this game. Ooh, okay, it's gonna be tough.
League races at Brazil are always crazy. It seems like.
Yeah, I've never had a normal one.
But yeah, I guess we'll wrap this up. It's 11 o'clock my time, but again, applaud you guys. It was a great race tonight. I think everybody just had a great time who finished the race, you know. So again, great etiquette and driving tonight. Appreciate you guys. So hopefully we'll maybe see you guys all again next week.
Yeah, I hope so, and thanks once again for your 3 hours of effort there.
It's my privilege.
Thanks, Gabba.
Yeah.
You're a beast as always.
You know, it's just me and this Raise Energy. I'm on can number 3 today. Had to get the third shameless plug in there. I knew I could do it.
I actually started laughing during the race because I was listening to the stream, and you were like, make sure you drink your Raise Energy so you can hit the walls even harder.
Oh man. I'm telling you, one of these days someone from Raise is gonna be tuning into one of these, and then I'm just gonna get a bunch of free stuff from it, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah. Alrighty, boys. It's time for me to. Yeah, no, I'm not going out tonight. No, it's time for me to go to bed.
All right. Have a nice rest,
guys.
Yeah.
Enjoy
see you
Singapore
guys.
Grand Prix.
Yeah. See you guys. Thanks for tuning into the stream. Catch you next time.
Yeah, man. Ciao.